A work group to provide career guidance and promote age-friendly jobs will be formed to help seniors stay in their job longer. It is also aimed at meeting manpower needs in a tight labour market, as many are leaving the workforce while still in their 50s. Rebecca Mateo with this report.
At 70, Madam Look Chuan Yong is the heartbeat of this Chinese medicine clinic, managing resources and answering queries. All this made easier with a little help from technology.
自从2000年过后，我们就开始电脑化，用电脑储存病历啊，要 key 电脑，要统计数字的电脑。但是这些只要你用心学，都是可以学会的。所以在我们这个年龄能够操作电脑是很自豪的。
To support more workers like Madam Look to stay employed during their silver years, a tripartite work group will be formed. This team will focus on equipping seniors with the tools to remain productive and employable, while also promoting a more inclusive workplace for all.
Well, through the work group, we will study better tailoring such services to suit seniors' preferences and needs. For a start, WSG and its partners will provide targeted career guidance workshops for seniors to help them better plan for their later stage careers, to promote age-friendly jobs and multi-generational workplaces. We want to support multi-stage careers where workers can adjust their workload based on their needs and aspirations.
Businesses can look to get funding and consultancy support when co-creating solutions to make jobs age-friendly.
We need to help the rest of the workforce to realize that seniors are a productive segment, and we do want them to come back to contribute. That's where I think employers in adjusting the workplace culture can do a lot more to help seniors integrate into the workforce, especially if they have been outside of the workforce for a while.
For Madam Look's employer, it's looking to get a counsellor to help seniors plan for retirement, especially as nearly 2 in 3 staff are over 55 years old.
The counsellor can help them to have a financial planning and talk about their retirement option and the process of being the transition from full-time work to part-time work and retirement. Also maybe can facilitate to discuss after their retirement, they still can stay healthy and active in their life.
And in line with ensuring retirement adequacy, CPF contribution rates for seniors will go up by 1.5 percentage points next year. The government will ease the transition for employers with a 1-year offset covering half of the increase.
And for more on this, I'm joined by Senior Minister of State for Manpower, Dr. Koh Poh Koon. Dr. Koh, welcome to the program. It's great to see you tonight. So a slew of support measures to encourage employers to hire more seniors, but we already have a high ratio of senior employment compared to other economies. So how much of this is expected to move the needle? You're right. At the age group between 60 to 69, our senior employment rate is comparable to the top 5 OECD countries. But when we look at the data, if you compare those in the age group of 50 to 54, the participation rate is about 86%. But somehow when they reach 60 to 64, it drops to 68%. So that's a huge 18% drop. We think we can do better by encouraging many of these workers in their 50s to keep in employment. Some of them could leave the job because they find that they have enough for the retirement. But a certain number of them may well want a job, but they find that their skills are obsolete. And some of them could well have personal commitments, like caregiving needs, for example. So we think if we can do something to try and uplift them in terms of skills, and maybe think about how we can create more fractionalized jobs so that those with care commitments can also continue to participate in the workforce, I think that will help to lift up the employment rate of this group of workers. Based on MOM's engagement with employers and workers so far, what are some of the main challenges that they have brought up when it comes to uplifting senior employment, and how does MOM plan to address them? I think there are a few key challenges. The first thing is, of course, societal expectations, mindsets. So for workers, I think it's important for them to realize that with better longevity, they will need to look at a longer runway for their careers and be more open to embracing different job roles, new job roles, and also keep their skills more updated to be relevant to the industry needs. For employers, they will have to look at how they can transform their workplace to be one that is more multi-generational, make sure that there are jobs that are more age-appropriate and are able to cater to an aging workforce. And of course, government
we have to look at how our policies can support our partners, our tripartite partners, to be able to implement some of these measures that help to transform the workplace through job redesign, for example. This is the reason why we are going to create a tripartite work group to look at how we can better support senior employment.
Let's also move to another point you made about Singapore wanting to improve the quality of our foreign workforce. It seems to go against the idea of a transient workforce, though. Is there a fundamental shift in the way we treat and the way we view our foreign workforce?
No, there's no fundamental shift. In fact, it is a consistent set of policies to try and make sure that our foreign workforce continues to complement our local workforce by making sure that the foreign workforce is here not just in quantity, but also has high quality in productivity as well. So in the EP segment, the professional segment, we continue to welcome all talent, and that's why we have this campus framework that we launched in recent years to make sure that the foreign workforce at the EP level comes as a complementary in terms of skill sets to our local workforce. For the S-passes, we want to make sure that they are also of high quality, so we keep adjusting their qualifying salary to keep pace with the rising salary of our Singaporean associate professionals in the APT space. And by doing that, we make sure that employers see these S-pass holders as someone who's befitting of that salary range, to bring in those with good skills to complement our professionals as well in the S-pass segment. Now, of course, for the broader work permit segment, we need to manage numbers carefully, although many of them are lesser skilled and doing jobs that Singaporeans might not want to do. But we have to control the numbers to make sure that they do not overwhelm our local resources in terms of space, in terms of amenities, and of course, the social space as well.
We'll talk about the potential strain on resources in a while, but I also want to touch on the restriction on the maximum period of employment for foreign workers that's being removed. What will be the effect of this for employers?
We undertook this policy because of feedback from employers. Many of them gave us feedback that a foreign worker who may have been with them for some time gains experience, is well integrated into our social fabric, but yet in their prime years, they are made to leave, and the employer has to start again with a new set of workers who's totally new, and they have to then start to teach them the new skills again. So from the employer's perspective, there's a lot of abortive work if we let go of workers in their prime. And I think this is something that we are prepared to relax to allow employers some choice. Of course, when the older workers are here, it also means that they may have higher chance of illnesses, and so employers may have to bear a little bit more higher burden in terms of healthcare costs for them. Because today we require employers to actually purchase medical insurance to support the healthcare needs of their foreign workers. Now, from the workers' perspective, even for Singaporean workers, I think some gave us feedback that this churn of foreign workers who are experienced, who are a good complement to their workforce, if you churn in a new worker, actually for the local Singaporean workers, they find that they have to now babysit and train a new group of foreign workers. So from both employers and employees' perspective, a quick churn of foreign workers who may be better skilled, better integrated, is not necessary to the advantage of both the local workforce and to the employers. So we're liberalizing this to allow employers to make the choice and weigh the balance between the quality of the workforce they have and how much healthcare costs they're prepared to bear.
All right, and for those who stay here long enough, they want to call Singapore their home. Will they not want to become citizens and PRs? And how is Singapore planning to handle this potential strain on resources like healthcare when they get older?
Yeah, that sentiment is quite understandable. I mean, as the worker stays here longer and they get more socialized and integrated, naturally that might be a step they want to take. But our immigration policy has always been one that is carefully calibrated and managed to make sure that we strike the balance between the needs of the economy and our social integration, plus also the need for ensuring there's a resource sustainability. Because ultimately, we are a small country with 729 square kilometers of land. And so we have to manage some of these requirements for the economy, for social integration, and how we can all fit together on this small little island.
All right, we also want to talk about leadership development, Dr. Koh. Interestingly, we are expanding this aspect for Singaporeans to take up overseas postings and leadership opportunities. Why is this so important for Singapore?
Well, it's of fundamental importance to Singapore because as an open economy, we welcome many multinationals to anchor themselves here. And as a regional and global hub for many companies, we need to make sure that our own local talent has exposure to overseas markets so they can actually meet the needs of these multinational companies that are anchored here. Even for our SMEs, as they venture out of Singapore to enter some of the key markets in ASEAN, for example, they will want to look for Singapore hires who also understand what the surrounding markets require them, not just in cultural fit, but also in understanding what the needs of the market are. So I think it's important for us to actually allow Singaporeans to be exposed to overseas markets for their own career development that meets the needs of both multinationals coming in and SMEs from here that's going out as well.
All right, getting very holistic experience overseas here. And I am assuming that this is all about younger Singaporeans becoming flag bearers for Singapore brand of leadership as well. But what will it mean for our society and families in Singapore?
Well, I can imagine that young families, when they venture out of Singapore, they will meet with necessary challenges of their children, finding schools, what about their housing needs and all.
Yeah.
So I think these are things that we will take into consideration, and we're prepared to lean forward a lot more and support them in making sure that housing needs are better met. So through HDB policies to facilitate their moving in and out of Singapore. And of course, school and education, how can we help the children to transit better as well? But as Singaporeans, when they move overseas, I think they become an important touch point for other Singaporeans who may want to venture into the overseas market. They become, I suppose, the local community that can help Singaporean businesses and Singaporean newcomers to integrate better into the overseas market. And I think it's something that will be a big gain for Singaporeans, both from the professional, personal experience and for helping us to spread our wings.
Definitely beneficial for the country.
Absolutely.
Dr. Koh, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your insights. That was Dr. Koh Poh Koon, Senior Minister of State at the Manpower Ministry.